This is the walkthrough of my toile in preparation for making my final garment. This is the left side of my sleeve, or inserting my arm of my toile, and as you can see there's a lot of gathering at the sleeve, and I need to practice on that when it comes to my F&P. Also, the seams did not meet on the bottom, and I really need to work on that. Here is my right side of the sleeve, and as you can see this is my second time inserting it, and there was slight improvement, but you can see there is a rip in the sleeve hole. This is mainly from just poor sewing and just seam allowance not meeting right, but I also realised the seam did meet as well, and there's also thread sticking out. It's just the sleeve itself. It's just a normal sleeve used with bedsheet, as I ran out of some calico, but there's nothing wrong with it other from how I inserted it. But when it comes to my final piece, I need to add a hem so it prevents fraying, and also finish to the seams as well. I'm most likely going to do a zigzag finish, so then I can hem the raw edges around the cuffs. You can see there, no hem, but I suppose I didn't really do it because I didn't know how to do it that well, but the material is also quite thin. Here is the bodice of my garment, where you can see I made slight alterations, but you can see all the bust darts on the side and on the front as well, where it links to the seams. They don't meet that well, but they meet like so, then the garment at least looks in proportion, you know. As you can see, the millimeters and measurements are quite off, but not too much compared to the back, where they don't really meet at all. Next is my funnel neck, or pop collar, what you like to call it, and originally it was 16 centimeters long. However, I thought before I made alterations it just looks stupid. After I decided to just half it to 8 centimeters, and it looks so much better than before. However, the stitching does look dodgy, but I will improve that when it comes to making my final piece. Here's my skirt for my toile, and to be honest, looking at the seams, I should have ironed them or just matched them up better. They're not perfect, but they're better. They're good for making my first thing. And the pockets, they are placed nicely, but I don't really like how they're placed really close to the dart and the seams, because it kind of interferes with the darts. But I did an alright job, but I need to improve on it. It's the same thing with my raw edges on my sleeves. There's raw edges on my skirt on the bottom and the back. When it comes to inserting my full zip, I'm going to be hemming the bottom of my skirt to make it look nicer and prevent fraying, and I will be doing that on the back as well when inserting my slip. Well, here's the back of my garment, and you can really see the raw edges and fraying, and especially that dart there where it doesn't meet properly. Here it meets perfectly with just a millimeter of difference, and I forgot to rub off the friction pen. You can see the gathering from the first part of where I inserted my sleeve, and it does look really tacky, and then you can also see the bad seam. However, the other sleeve, perfection. Here's a closer look on my collar, and as you can see I made it way too long, and when it comes to my final piece, I have to make sure to remeasure and create a new pattern so it matches with the proper, dress. I'm also going to be adding a full zip, hemming the raw edges to make it look nicer on the back, but from that it's perfectly fine. It's just the measurements are quite off, and I really need to improve on that when it comes to my final piece and other aspects of my work, my samples, and even F&P. Now flipped inside out, this is the raw edges of my garment, and it is a monstrosity. You can see here where I flipped the collar to make it shorter and it looks nicer. Here's the shoulder seams, which I did not do a single bit of finishing on my garment, and it makes it look absolutely disgusting from the inside, but you won't be able to see it. As you can see, there's a lot of gathering on the sleeves compared to the different sides. It just doesn't look well, and then it doesn't reflect well on the outside. You can see there's a alright stitching when it comes to the darts, but I also need to sort out the raw edges when it comes to connecting my skirt to my bodice, but I feel like that's in general of my whole garment. You can see there where my pockets have been stitched into my seams and darts, and it kind of just ruins it a bit. One thing I forgot to mention is notches. I did not do any notches on my bodice, and I didn't do proper notches on my sleeves, but here's the final garment. Yeah, this is before and after the alterations. The neck looks terrific.